So with just over a week to go until the local government elections, the role of community media can't be underestimated. Millions of South Africans rely on community radio stations and community newspapers for information and updates on service delivery developments in their municipalities. To discuss the importance of community media in the build-up to these local government elections, Zukiswa Potye joins us now. She's the CEO of the Media Development and Diversity Agency. Zukiswa, thank you for joining us here on NewsLink. Now, of course, it's very important that the media covers the elections, but an example like eNCA, it's a national media house. How important is municipal or local media in this election?
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me at the eNCA. The role of the community media can really cannot be underestimated, especially the role they play in a local government election, and it's the same role, similar role they play in a national election. So what the community media does is to also play the same watchdog role that the national media plays. But also what is critical and very important with the community media is that they're in the ground, they're at the grassroots, and so they're able to interact with the people directly. They ensure that people know and understand what their democratic rights are, encourage people to vote. And what is good about community media is those people that would be giving them those messages are people that they live them in their localities. So they play that role, they encourage public participation, they encourage nation building, but they also would, the community media is also obliged to adhere to the rules and regulations set by the IEC, and they also have to adhere with broadcasting conditions in terms of the regulator, eNCA, during these elections. What is critical is that there is a fair debate and there is fairness in terms of their broadcasting, in terms of making the views of independent people that are running for elections, political parties, their debates, and they also will monitor and track the reporting on the actual elections, the outcomes of the elections. But we are saying to the community media, be on the ground, be the eyes and ears to actually then let your communities know what is happening on the ground and so forth. That's the role of the community media at this point.
And of course, the role of the community media as well is as important in reporting as it is in making sure that they report about all the parties that are involved in the different municipalities, right? Are they doing a good job?
Precisely, and they are doing a good job. What we did have with them, like we have every time there's an election, on the 11th and the 12th, we actually had a training for a couple of days. I think it was the 11th and the 12th, where we chose certain individuals within the station. They actually sponsored those people, maybe 3 people in a station or a newspaper, to come and train them so that we gave them tools and techniques and the know-how on how to navigate the electoral process and how to understand and distill between fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and so that they can report sufficiently and accurately, and so that the people on the ground know what is happening. So we do train them every time there's an election on how to report on elections.
And now, okay, so the local radio stations and community newspapers are important. How important is it that the people in those communities, as stakeholders, also listen out to these radio stations and read the newspapers to be able to know exactly who they are voting for?
Community media are a community media because they are for communities and by communities. And what I mean about that is that there's a lot of voluntarism that happens in community media. But also remember that community media was established in 1990. In fact, the MDDA Act is only in 2004. But the new democratic South Africa ensured that as soon as they were in power, that there was going to be plurality of voices through community community media. So community media is entrenched in the communities they serve, both newspapers, television, and community radio stations, and those people protect their asset, which is the investment that we make as the MDDA into creating and establishing, because ours is to ensure that there is community media development and diversity, and that we know that we want South Africans to receive information, content, and news in languages that they speak and understand. And so it is no mistake that the MDDA focuses on supporting projects or community media that encourage the indigenous languages and cultural groups.